Man, I got to start this off right away, man. When I told all my friends, I was telling everybody, man, I got a buddy of mine. I'm bringing him on the show. Yeah. His name is SIRPATRICK PHILLIPS.
I know everybody start, oh, is it Patrick Phillips?
I'm like, nope.
No.
His name is SIRPATRICK PHILLIPS. They're like, what? I said, let me tell you something. I said, his parents were the smartest people in the world. I said, you know what? I don't think we've had this conversation, but I knew in my mind that when your parents named you this, that they were certain that you were going to get shown respect, that you were going to be called sir.
That's, I guess you can say the somewhat generic version of what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, my mother, she told me basically the same things when I was young, you know, because I always inquired about that. Like, what gave you the desire to name me Sir Patrick, you know? And just a little quick, you know, just keeping it brief. My mother, her name is Patsy.
Okay.
So this is what she told me, and my brother kind of confirmed it. He was roughly, I would say, about 10 years old when I was born. And she wanted to name me something that would represent strength and everything like that. So, but she also, you know, of course, me being a boy, at the time, she didn't know what direction she wanted to go with. She actually told me one of the first names that ran across was Mustafa something, and I was like, oh, okay. But, you know, at that time, you know, this is back in the brink of the 80s.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a lot of different prolific things going on at that time, you know. So, but she decided to name me after hers. You know, of course, I'm not a junior, but she decided to name me after her, you know, and she gave me Patrick, and my brother decided to just throw Sir into it. So they decided about this story, and she told me about this story 1,000 times over, man.
So it's more, it's almost, yeah, okay, I get it. Like instead of being a junior to a man, you're the male version or the male extension of her.
Exactly. And I'm also the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so you're the special one.
Your
brother,
yeah.
I bet your brothers gave you shit all the time.
Well, actually, speaking of my siblings, I have 2 older sisters, and my brother is the oldest. My brother is 10 years older than me. My sisters are 20. Well, I'll be 40 in 3 more months. My oldest sister, she will make 43. She will make 43 in May, right after me. Right after I make 40, she makes 43. But my sister, in between us, she makes 42 in October of 2022.
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy because the way I keep all of those numbers together and remember birthdays is because it's ironic. My sisters, but my oldest sister, like I told you, she's only 10 days after me, you know. She's not May 5th, she's May 10th. But this is how I keep up with my sister that's in the middle. She was born on October 10th. So if I wanted to remember her age, I would look at the back 2 numbers. So it's 2021 right now.
Right.
She made 41.
Okay.
But 10 plus 10 plus 10, you see what I'm saying? And I put this together when I was younger, man, and it just stuck with me. So anytime I want to remember, well, how old is my sister? I just look at the end number.
Yeah.
So she'd actually be 42 in 2022.
All right.
So, and she made 30 years old on 10/10/10.
Nice.
October 10th, 2000.
But that was a party right there.
Yeah, man. It's just crazy. But, you know, I love them. I love them. And speaking of, you know, family, you know, today is my mother's birthday, speaking of.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually spoke with her on my way here, you know, because we're supposed to be taking her out to eat later on this evening. So she's looking forward.
She's here. She's still here in town.
Yeah, well, actually, she lives on the southwest of Houston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's close. Yeah. So, what part of town are you in right now?
I stay in the South Park area.
Okay.
Pearland area.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, close to the Beltway in Alameda.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So that's good, man. You get to go. I mean, so you're gonna today, you know, go see your mom and everything. Are your siblings gonna be there with you?
Well, my sisters are supposed to be.
Okay.
And as far as my brother, he's kind of like a phantom, you know. So we have to catch him whenever we can catch him. He's in and he's out.
Yeah.
So, but he keeps himself pretty busy. So, we try our best to include him in a lot of the things that we do together as a family.
Yeah.
But it's hard to catch him. He drives trucks and all these other things. So it's just hard to catch him sometimes.
Right.
But.
Right. Well, man, look, I think it's kind of I think it'd be pertinent here at this point to kind of tell everybody kind of how we know each other, how we
Would you like to do it, or
man,
do you want to give
I guess. See, I've been very vocal, obviously, about my story. I mean, I've put it out here on my channel. I've talked about it. It's all out there. So, I mean, we met in prison.
Yeah.
Now fast forward a little bit of my story, I got brought out to the trustee camp like within like 90 days of coming into the system. So I was there.
He was special, you guys. He was special. So.
I tell everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, I said, have you ever seen the Shawshank Redemption? And I said, the best way I can explain it, man, is I was Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
Like everybody looked at me from the day I got in, from the day I stepped foot there. I mean, all the way through classification and Huntsville, went through all that nonsense. From the very, very beginning, I literally got questioned by all rank, everybody, like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Because they go back, they look at your education, they go back, they do your IQ, they go back and they look at sociology, your criminal background, all this other stuff. Like,
well, and also, knowing a little bit about your history as well, with you making it, like pro status, doing some things on skates.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
No, I was actually watching a few of your old videos, man, and it was just, it was a remarkable situation, just looking at this individual that I met in, I call it the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
I met you in the belly of the beast, but when we met, it's kind of like we just congealed very well together, we had our moments where we had to kind of put certain things in place, but it was never a disrespectful moment.
Absolutely.
It was always out of respect. We could talk to one another, and we had our little circle,
Absolutely.
and our circle was very strong, and it was the type of circle that really kind of kept us out of a lot of the trouble.
Absolutely.
A lot of the trouble.
Well, see, when I first got to OL Luther, you were on the road crew.
Yeah.
So when I first got there, you weren't there. Like you were out on the road. You guys were out on a project somewhere, probably in like North Texas or West Texas or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like I knew nothing about the road crew, man. I'm in fucking culture shock to begin with, just being in prison. So all of a sudden the road crew shows back up, and it's like this group of guys that y'all are traveling around. Y'all are out eating fucking McDonald's. Y'all are out like,
No, I'm just playing.
Hey, man.
When you talking about McDonald's, look, I'm gonna bring you up to speed. We weren't eating McDonald's. If we ate McDonald's, it was probably because it was breakfast time, and we wanted to just get a big bang for your buck before we're going to go complete a job.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say, as a member of the traveling road crew at that time, it was a sense of peace and freedom that I knew everyone else at the prison or at the facility we were a part of, they weren't able to experience, you know. But it was also because, speaking about McDonald's, actually, when I was on the traveling road crew, that's when I ate my very first, Texas Roadkill from Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
We went, of course, we couldn't go in and just walk through and sit down at the bench or anything like that, But, we'd sit right there in the van, and the officers or whatever you wanted to call them, that were overseeing us, it would only be, and they would be in plain clothes like anyone else, and it would be usually the one or two that would be with us on the job, period. But they would give us the liberty of just chilling in the van while they go order our food. But they'd bring us a menu, we figure out whatever we wanted, and we'd make our order. Because what it was is, TDC doesn't give you money into your pocket.
Right.
And we all know that's the systematic subjugation that a lot of people are oppressed by right now being in prison.
Right,
You know?
makes it very hard to live.
It really does, you know. But being on the traveling road crew, they actually gave you a P card. You know, of course, you didn't keep it on your possession, but they would give it to those officers, and you know, whenever it was time for eating, they gave you $8 in the morning for breakfast. They gave you $11 for lunch, and they gave you $17 for dinner. So you know, of course, I mean, we're inmates. Yeah, we're inmates at the time, but they also gave us the liberty to decide how we wanted to spend our money. Now
They let you build it up.
That was the good thing, and this was only the guys that were overseeing us.
Yeah,
we all became like a little traveling family. You
yeah.
know? And they would literally, whatever it was, where they tell you if you have enough money in your budget for this particular meal, whatever it is, you know, you can get it. But what we'd do is we'd put all of our breakfast money together, and we'd just tell them to go to the grocery store, and they'd get us an abundance of stuff where we're able to keep in the van, you know, like things like chips, you know, drinks and things that you don't get in TDC.
Right.
So what we would do is we'd build up our little arsenal of food, you know, but at dinner time, hey man, that was $17. And if you remember when we were incarcerated, I was incarcerated from the year 2001 all the way to the end of year 2014.
Right. Yeah. You came home just before I did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, going through that whole process, looking back on the traveling road crew, you know, it gave me a little bit more freedom. But of course, I had to go through hell and high water to get to that point.
Yeah.
You know, I did 8 years in the building, which is the ID unit, and I did my remainder at the trustee camp. So I was, by the time you got there, I was considered one of the old heads.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I didn't have any problems out there. We already had our little spreading circles, you know. But everyone out there, you know, you had your tussles, your arguments, your fights. We're men, you know. At the end of the day, we're men.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the relationships that was really built at that trustee camp, I still have a lot of those relationships with the individuals that came home, you know.
Yeah.
And looking back over everything, would I change anything? I wouldn't change anything for the world, because everything that I went through inside of that place built a character in me that sees my flaws, attack my flaws, you know. It actually helps me look at myself as being more along and peacemaker. I'm giving you a shout out when I say this, because I remember sitting in that prison and he came up with the whole eagle slogan and everything, you know, soaring, you know, wings high and everything. But when we looked into the depthness of what an eagle represents, an eagle is a solo creature.
Yes.
They fly solo. They don't need a flock of eagles around them in order for them to still be considered the strongest predator of the air.
Absolutely.
You know, but they fly solo. To me, that's a representation of what a real king is. You see what I'm saying? You are a king. I am a king, because we have our circle that we're responsible for. We have our rooks, we have our castle, we have our bishops, our pawns, we have our queens, you know. But we are the kings of our lives, you know. And some people fail to see that. You are the king of your castle. You have to wear the crown, but in order to wear the crown, you have to show that you're worthy. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So all of that I went through, it built this character in me that showed me you are a king, man. So stand in that. Your name is Sir Patrick. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to hate that name, man. You know, I would sign my name, Patrick Phillips. Because I never understood it. I didn't embrace it until after I graduated high school, and that's when it really clicked to me. I'd done a lot of studying. I was very self-taught, you know, when it comes down to history and things like that when I graduated high school. So, you know, even during incarceration, I studied and I taught myself a lot of different things that you wouldn't have learned, you know, any other way.
Right, digging deep.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because I had the time. That's what a lot of people don't have out here in this, what they consider free working society. You know, they don't have that kind of time.
It's kind of funny is I took kind of a similar approach. The way you look at it is, if we look at what we consider the great thinkers of our world, of our history, people from the Renaissance era, people going back to the Middle Ages, going all the way back to the I don't know, the developing portions of Africa, stuff like that, thousands of years ago. When we read about them, when we read about these people, it's always the sense that they had a tremendous amount of free time. They weren't having to farm. They weren't having to build houses. They weren't having to labor. They had the ability to kind of sit back and spend the time to think. They had the ability to contemplate. They had the ability to educate. They had the ability to, if we think about the story of Sir Isaac Newton, the discovery of gravity, apple falls on his head. Yeah. Well, the motherfucker was sitting under a tree, relaxing, daydreaming and shit. Well, he got to be that way because his family had money. He didn't have to labor and toil like the average person would have to do. So he had the ability to sit there and think. Well, obviously, we're sitting in prison.
Yeah.
We're broke as fuck right now. And we're having to work.
That's it. We're having to work.
Yeah, we're being forced to work.
Involuntary subjugation.
Absolutely.
That's what I call
now,
it.
Now they try to frame it as if, well, we are working, so we are earning our parole. Obviously, Texas has a more progressive parole system than, say, some other states.
Yeah.
But then you look at some of these other states, and the people, they're getting lower sentences at the same time, and they're getting paid to be there.
Exactly.
You go to a place like Missouri, lower fucking sentences, they're getting paid to work, and the motherfuckers get, like, tablets.
Exactly.
They're getting to sit there. I watched a video the other day of 4 people in a cell. 2 of them have fucking tablets in their hand. The guy's literally recording something off his fucking tablet, and it goes, and he's able to send it out in an email to his girlfriend or wife, who posted on like TikTok and Instagram, and they're in there rapping and stuff. I'm like, man, imagine if we had fucking,
Man, to be honest, just looking back at all of that, man, of course, they give you this little see-through radio.
Yeah.
That you really, depending on what region you're in Texas, you still, all you maybe hear is one particular side of music.
Right.
You go up to East Texas and places like Panhandle and things like that. All you're getting is Latino music and Spanish music. It's not that that's a problem, but if that's not your primary language, it's like, okay, I feel a little biased. So it's like, what's the purpose of me having a radio if I can't even listen to music that I enjoy?
There is that sense of even further being isolated.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're holding you like you're already kind of cut off from the world, and then the access you do have, it's almost like saying, hey, here's this, but we're not going to let you fucking know what they're saying, but you get to hear it.
You get to hear music,
but you don't know. Yeah, so
but you have no comprehension what the hell is going on.
Yeah, it's even further isolation. So it's super weird, but. Yeah, I took the same approach, kind of. I do think about someone like you, Peacemaker. I talk to Peacemaker probably about twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
When I first came home, I got to be in his first music video. I was actually in his first music video.
Really?
I got to be there. I was watching the whole thing. Him and the producer director.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be there with them, and then they let me hold the camera, and actually shoot the opening scene to it.
Oh, well, I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, he let me do that. So, because I was hanging out with him all day long. I'd probably been home at this point maybe for 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. So you were fresh home.
Oh yeah. So I was literally, I was just happy to get to see somebody that
familiar that
I had spent a lot of time with in the previous few years versus.
Now that you say that, I just want to capitalize off of the comments that you've made. Coming home and seeing those individuals, what people have to realize is a lot of individuals were down there and they didn't have family that they could connect with down there.
Right.
They didn't have family that was putting money on their books, family sending them letters, family sending them, just whatever. They didn't have that.
Yeah.
Some of them did, some of them didn't. Some of them had to do what a lot of us caught ourselves having to do, and do what they say is get it how you live.
Right.
And that
Hustle.
basically means whatever by any means necessary.
Yeah.
That's how some people had to survive, because they didn't have that camaraderie at home.
Right.
So they built the camaraderie inside of the prison system, and it actually allowed them to feel a sense of family.
Yeah.
So because I tell people, yeah, true enough, you hear the stories about you guys had to take a shower naked together. You had to, but what they fail to realize is in those moments, being heterosexual men, having respect, loyalty, and all of those things for one another, you don't see that person in that way at all. You look at that person as a brother, and it's like, I don't care because we were naked. I'm not trying to see what he has or anything like that. So
eyes are staying here. We can call.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it when we played sports.
Yeah.
Obviously, in your industry, you know, you skated professionally.
Yeah.
So, you know, locker room chats, you know, football players, you know, locker room chats. So that's not nothing. Come on now. You know, they try to ostracize us because we were subjugated to that.
What they don't realize,
no choice.
Where we were obviously for the last half of your incarceration, where we were, you didn't have that what you hear about, what you automatically think about. You didn't have that kind of life there.
Exactly.
Granted, you could probably go to some places where it could get like that. It could get pretty bad. I would probably even venture to say on the unit we were on inside the building, probably maybe once a year something like that were to happen. Something negative were to happen. But people miss that. It's like you build, and it's not to say, you know, what everybody calls it, what's the word? Not systemized, where you basically institutionalize. I'm sorry, where you become institutionalized. It's not, you know, you try to tell everybody that, and I will say, I you know, you probably dealt with, because you were there for a long fucking time. You were there for 14 years. You deal with a sense of like a little bit of PTSD, where there's just kind of certain things that kind of strike you weird. But what you realize when you're there is that if you're looking to go home and never fucking come back, you're looking for ways to occupy your mind, occupy your body, and socialize with like-minded people. And what ends up happening is you deeply connect with these people. So even if you come home and you're not able to talk to them every single day like what we were there, I mean, when you came off the road crew and you were no longer traveling, because you came to the very end of it where you just weren't traveling anymore.
I took remove myself from, because I didn't know when they were going to be calling my name.
Could be any day.
Yeah, I removed myself from the roster.
Yeah, and so we're sitting there, we're having dinners together, you know, 3-4 times a week. We're putting our bowls together, we're spreading, we're making cakes, working out every day. So we're seeing each other 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day, and in between time, We're sitting down. People like you, me, Peacemaker, Roderick Hearn.
Shout out Roderick Hearn as well.
Big Rod. He actually, dude, I got a story about him. He's a fantastic man. But we would on top of all of that socializing, we would have educational sessions where we would all sit down and we would talk and have deeply educational conversations about life, culture, history, finance, taxes, business, you know, going this direction. I mean, you built a fucking career off of what you learned there.
Exactly.
I mean, and so there's, and so you take that, and when you come home, like I said, I had spent so much time with Peacemaker up to that point. He got out 1 year before I did. He actually got out the day after my birthday. He left OL on my birthday. We had a birthday spread the night before, and then he left on the day of my birthday and actually walked out on April 8th, I believe. And so, like, we stayed in contact. He actually stayed in contact with my wife at the time. There was text communication there, so he was checking on me and everything. And so when I came home, yes, I was living with my family when I first came home. I had to live with them for a month. But there's a sense of disconnect. It's not that, hey, you don't love your family anymore, but you walk in and it's like, how do you explain to them everything you've seen and done?
Because they lack that comprehension. I'm not gonna say they can't comprehend, but they can't relate.
No,
you know what I'm saying? They can't relate. They can't understand what we actually went through. Just by seeing us physically right there in their presence, they feel like well, whatever it wasn't that bad. You made it home,
Right.
you know. But what they fail to realize is the things that we go through, the things that we have to go through, regardless if we want to or not, are things that just a normal, regular, everyday Joe Blow, you know, probably wouldn't be able to handle.
And a lot of it, I mean, yeah, of course, there's physical altercations, and of course, you're working hard and you're tired and stuff. But I would say like 90% of that bullshit is emotional.
But that's the point. Everything you think about it, everything starts off with a thought first, right?
Yeah.
So what's associated with thoughts? Your mind. You see what I'm saying? Your mind, also your emotions.
Yeah.
You see? And when you lose control of your emotions, of course, it exudes in your physical being.
Yeah.
You know? Because when you lose your emotions, your body is gonna take over.
Absolutely.
And it's going to have control over your mind. But you know, we just from studying, you know, I'm just gonna stick to that, just for studying purposes. You know, you would learn that your mind is always supposed to cause your body to submit.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole idea of the Sphinx. You know, the Sphinx represents the bestiality, you know, the beast-like qualities of the human being. But the reason the Sphinx has a cat-like body or animalistic body, but a human head, because it represents that when your mind is strong, and that what happens is you cause your physical beast to submit. That's the whole concept behind the Sphinx, you know. And you know, that's why I say studying while I was in that place, it gave me a different quality of life and a different appreciation of life, because I believe that in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you're coming from, you know. But where you're coming from is not necessarily the beginning of your livelihood. It doesn't start at the beginning of your existence, you know. You have to look back into history and see how history has evolved, but also see how the wheel just goes into 360-degree cipher, and everything starts, has an ending, and it starts all over again. It's repetitive, you know. History is repetitive.
Absolutely.
You know, so just looking back on all of that, of course, it all was emotional. You know, when we didn't get letters and we heard everyone getting their names called, and it's like I'm sitting there waiting for a letter, but the only thing I get is a I-60 back from that I sent out 3 months ago that I forgot about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But seeing that, you know, like I said, going back to what we were talking about, that separation from your family, that separation just from individuals that you've always known all of your life.
Yeah.
Because people moved on, or you're stuck in the gray area, you know. They're either in the black and white, but you're stuck right in the middle. So when you're out of sight, you're out of mind. So they're not thinking about you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that raises a certain level of emotions inside of you internally that exudes physically. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And your beast-like qualities start to take over your rational thinking. And when that happens, you become some of those inmates that we were around. Some of them friends, true enough.
Yeah.
But they have a rougher time dealing with the prison system, because they're constantly getting into trouble. They're constantly acting out. They're constantly searching for attention. They're constantly just looking for someone to say, hey, I'm here with you. I got you. Anything you need. They just looking for support, you know. But when they're not receiving any, they act out.
Yeah.
You think about it. Some of us, we didn't have a reason to act out.
No.
Now, I had a little hustle, remember?
Yeah.
I was cutting hair with a comb and razor, you know. But, you know,
damn fine barber.
Hey, I worked in the commissary. So, you know, you guys were well taken care of.
Absolutely.
If there was anything you guys needed, let me know, and we would try to order it and get it into our unit, you know.
Ice cream. Pastries.
Man. Oh my God. Yeah. That was peace for us.
People,
man.
you know, it's something as simple as that. People don't realize how something as simple as that is a complete luxury.
It is.
Well, going back to explaining to them, they don't understand. Look, again, you were there for 14 years. I was there for 4 years. Big difference, obviously. You went through a whole lot, plus you had to live inside a building for 8 of that. Yeah. Still, to explain to somebody just the perspective of how we got boiling hot water, explaining them to them, putting the wire in there and connecting it and doing all that shit. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
They're like, but at the same time, everybody's like, well, if people would spend that much time thinking about, whatever, maybe they wouldn't go to prison. I'm like, it don't fucking work like that. It's not, hey, not all stupid people go to prison.
Exactly.
Like, it's
Exactly.
like, it's so, but then to explain how important or how luxurious it was to have a fucking pastry. Something you can go down to the corner store today and buy for $1.25, an apple pie.
You wouldn't have to do that now. You just get a whole box.
Yeah.
And have a sorted combination for a few days.
Yeah. Or just go, or you know what? You don't even go on your phone, Amazon, order a month's supply right there and have it delivered to your door.
Amazon. Now I'm gonna say HEB Direct.
There you go.
You hear me? HEB delivery.
Yeah.
Is amazing.
Same thing. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I got one right around the corner here. It's all I shop out. But
Yeah.
but to explain the feeling of standing in that commissary line, walking up, having your order filled, and you got your fucking pastries thrown in your bag, when Miss Herrera's throwing that shit out the window, counting it and pushing it out the fucking window.
Or Miss LaPaya.
Yeah. How do you?
Yeah. Or Miss
it's
LaPaya.
but it's a feeling, man.
Yeah.
How do you can't explain that. And again, how old were you when you went in?
I was 19.
Okay, so I was a lot older. I was 30.
Yeah.
So I'd lived a life. But still, 19 years of living over here, you develop all of these things, all of these characteristics, these habits, all this other stuff. And all of a sudden, boom, it's being reprogrammed. Yeah. You have to do this. You don't get to do this. You don't get to do this. And so you start, the ones I can honestly say that, and we both have these friends that we came out home with, that are home, that we started talking to, and then they've gone back.
Yeah.
There are, I've got about 3 of those guys that we talked to, that I've talked to, and they've gone back.
Yeah.
One of them a couple different times. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's you look at it and you say, the guys like us, we appreciated every fucking thing we had in there. We didn't hold, hey, you took responsibility for what you did, right?
Most definitely.
And you spent your time there, and you went home, and you ain't gone back. The ones that
Speaking of, not to take over anymore, but
yeah, it's your show.
To speak of, I actually just discharged that full 20-year sentence in July of this year.
Congratulations, man.
So at this point, I'm fully free.
Congratulations.
As ironic as that may sound, but yeah.
I mean, that's an accomplishment.
That is. Definitely.
That's fucking huge. So I got half. I got half that.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 10-year sentence.
Mm-hmm.
My discharge is September 10th, 2022.
That's right.
But it's great because I've got a great parole officer. As you spend time out, things like that. I call her on the phone, every few months, check in. She reminds me every time, hey, just reminding you, and mine's a Saturday.
Yeah.
My discharge date's a Saturday.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So she's like, just letting you know, it's a Saturday. Monday, I'll have a certificate, and it's done.
Yeah.
So but that's the weird part for me, is mine's on a Saturday, so it's not like, anyway, she says, but you do discharge on this date. So.
Yeah. And I was the same situation, actually. Yeah. July 17th, I believe July 17th fell on that Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how everything worked around that time. Let me see. I discharged on the 17th. My uncle got married on the 18th, and I was one of his groomsmen,
Oh, nice.
So think about it. At that time, let me see, I had just got back in town we went to Tyler. That's where we went. We went to Tyler. And we hosted a big boxing extravaganza in Tyler. And I was due to return that Sunday morning, which was the 18th.
Okay.
So we went out, me and my wife, we ended up going out to Tyler that Friday, and we stayed, overnight. The bout was the fight was that Saturday, and that Sunday morning we was due to return back to Houston. Well, the wedding was also that Sunday. So by the time we made it back home after the fight, I believe we made it home at like 4:00, just enough time for us to take a shower, put our luggage up, get dressed for the wedding, and make our way on out to the church. You know, but we made it, and I made it before the groom. You know, but I made it before the groom, but it was a very, very beautiful wedding.
They do it here in Houston.
James and Pebbles, I just want to say, man, I'm just so happy you guys took that extra leap, and you guys just keep pushing forward. Hey, we all doing it together.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Now, James is who's he?
He's my uncle.
Okay, uncle.
Yeah.
Okay, on your mom's side.
Well, and now see this is the big twist.
We'll get off on the weeds on this one.
Yeah, this is the big twist. So at 3 months, my biological mother, she had a friend, and her friend, they were real close, they grew up together, but her friend had a few upsets, and she was unfortunately unable to conceive a child. And my biological mother, she had, by that time, I had 3 older siblings, and I was the next in line. Of course, I was the last of the line, and my mom, which was my mother's best friend, she ended up taking me in at 3 months, because at the time that, my biological mother, she was going through, just a lot of different things and when we talk about a lot of different things, us as at the age that we are, we talk about the past and we talk about how we grew up and things like that. Well, the way a lot of people that in the area that I grew up, the way we grew up, we grew up a little different.
Yeah.
There was a lot of us that didn't have the mother and father dynamic in the household, but my mother, she still did the best that she could with my other siblings. But by the time I was born, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard for her to take care of all of that and still be a single, being a single mother was hard enough in itself. So I guess you can say it worked out perfectly, because my mom, she was unable to conceive, and my biological mother, on the other hand, was just unable to just take care of everyone and give us the best quality livelihood that she could, as being so young, So she came into the picture, adopted me, and like I say, it's crazy because she passed away 2016. Did she come to OL at all?
She was the only one that came.
Your mom, the one that raised you. The one that you guys have met before.
Yes.
That was the woman that raised me.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I never knew that.
Yeah. But and I mean, I didn't explain a lot of things in prison. I mean,
Sure.
Of course, we're in prison.
Yeah. You never know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to make it strange or difficult for myself. Explaining those things, they can bring up emotions that you have a little hidden and tucked away. But like I said, I'm an open book, so it doesn't bother me to speak about it now.
Yeah.
But it still tugs on the heartstrings, But at the same time, I can say everything worked out the way that God planned for it to work out.
Yeah.
Because even though this wasn't my biological mother, she still did the best that she could, And for everyone that knows me, they know about my situation and how the whole incarceration ordeal came up in the first place. I wasn't a bad guy. I had a few little things, being young, we were just wild, but as far as what I was incarcerated for, the truth of the matter, and I know people say, plenty of people say that, everybody say that, but I'm going to tell you like this on camera. If I had a reason to lie at this point, it would be preposterous.
Right.
Because I've discharged now. I have no reason to lie. Hell, if I did it, I did it, And I'm cool with taking the rap for my ill doings.
Right. Your the things you did.
Exactly.
You can't take responsibility for everybody else's fucking actions.
Exactly. But the way the situation worked out, I ended up, and I'm just gonna go brief, and I'm gonna give you just like the rundown real quick. The night I was incarcerated, I was actually at a girlfriend's house, I guess you can call her a girlfriend. Well, we weren't really dating like that, but we working toward it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also had just enlisted into the U.S. Navy as well.
Right.
So it was like I say, we were young, we were wild. I'm not gonna deny it, but it was something to do at the time. It was convenient. But while there, I didn't have a vehicle at this time because my vehicle was already at home with my mother. She was going to be taking over my vehicle, when I left and everything like that. So while I was there with this girlfriend, I ended up needing a ride to go get some other equipment and some other merchandise that a friend of mine had located maybe I'd say 5 miles from my current location at the time. So one of her friends ended up showing up. It was really the baby's dad of her friend. So, he came in and everything. We all got to talking, and I knew he had a vehicle. His people had a nice bit of money. So, I'm not thinking 2 times about the vehicle that he's in. So
you just think about the fact he's got a vehicle.
Exactly. I asked him for a ride, and he said, "Yeah, I don't have a problem with taking you." So we ended up going to my friend's house, but on the way back, I'm steady noticing a lot of sirens and police lights behind us as we're riding back, and I'm in the passenger seat. He's in the driver's seat, and I look over at him, and I'm not thinking of it. I look over at him, I'm like, man, bro, it's a lot of cops behind us, man. Somebody, they going to go arrest somebody. They trying to get somebody. So I'm looking for the car that's gonna speed by in the next few seconds, thinking it's a high speed chase or what have you. Well, that wasn't the case at all. I look back over there at the driver, and he's looking all erratic and panicking and things like that. And he was like, "They ain't gonna get me like that. They ain't gonna get me." And I'm like, "What do you mean? They ain't gonna get you like what? What are you talking about? Like what have you done that I don't know about?" You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm in the car with you right now. So what have you done that I don't know about? Well, he didn't say anything outside of just rocking back and forth, and he's sitting up here driving the car all crazy. But what ended up happening, he decided to jump out of the car on the freeway. So I'm still in the passenger seat, seatbelt on, because I don't know what's about to happen. Are they gonna ram us or what? He jumps out of the car while the car is still rolling. The car slams into the median of the freeway, and it's just ghost riding down the freeway. He has jumped over the median and ran to jump off the freeway because he was trying to escape. Not one time did I pick up on this irrational behavior until I noticed him jump out the car after he steady rocking, talking about they're not going to get me like this. So now I don't know what to do, man. I'm 19 years old, never been in trouble with the laws or anything like that. So I had no clue of what to do next. All I knew is I was thinking about my life. So I unfastened my seatbelt and I jumped off the car, rolled a few times, and my intentions were to get off of this freeway. It wasn't to run, But when I did that, when I exited the vehicle and was able to maintain enough balance to where I was able to get back to my feet and get off the freeway before they started ramming the vehicle, well, they pulled up on me quickly, drew down on me. And of course, I didn't do anything wrong, so I laid down face first. Mm-hmm. They put me in handcuffs. We took a little ride. They ended up catching him. Yeah, they caught him. They caught him first. But we ended up riding maybe a few yards down the little sidewalk where we were. They had a driveway. So we ended up riding like a few yards down the driveway, and then another police car approaches, and it has the victim of the car that we was in. So I'm not putting 2 and 2 together, but it's not registering, Come to find out, the guy that was in the back seat of the other police vehicle, the car we was in was his vehicle, and this dude that I was riding with had just stolen it from him all the way on the whole nother side of town.
Like that day?
That day. Before coming to where we were, Him and some other guys had already jacked this guy and took his vehicle.
So he was in the vehicle and they took him out of it. It was it was a carjacking or whatever.
I guess because obviously it had to been because he knew exactly how to identify him.
So yeah, so they didn't. I guess the accusation was that they didn't just steal it out of like the driveway or something like that.
No,
Okay.
no. So
All
when
right.
he pulled up, because he identified the culprit, he identified the guy that was driving the vehicle we were in.
Yeah.
But he told him, he said the other guy, he has no idea who I was. He said he wasn't there. I don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, okay, cool. You know, at least he was honest. I get to the city jail and they take me through a long process. Well, they took us through a long process, but initially they told me that I was being detained for evading arrest. For running,
For jumping out of the vehicle and all that.
yeah. So I'm like, you know what? If that's the case, I did do that. So if y'all gonna label it as evading, then so be it. I'm not tripping. That's a misdemeanor, you know. While we were in the city jail, they put us through a random lineup. They told us they were putting us in the lineup for someone else, but they wanted people that matched the descriptions. So nothing you have to worry about. We just putting you in the lineup. But I noticed when we got into the lineup, me and him were right dead smack in the middle of everyone in the line. They had me standing in a red box on the floor. Never told us to shift or anything outside of telling us to turn and turn back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they interrogated me. They never got anything out of me. I never told them guys that I did anything I never told them that because I only told them the truth.
Sure.
And at the time, I'm like, I don't even know what you guys want from me. I don't know what to tell you. You see what I'm saying? Well, getting back to where it wasn't, the lineup wasn't for us. Come to find out, the lineup was exactly for us. And I'm not gonna put too much information out there because the situation, like I say, it's over. It's over. But I still have intentions of going back to the courts to try to fight a few things about the case. So I don't want to just really put certain information into this little dialogue. But I'll just tell you this. Once I got to Harris County, I was supposed to only serve 15 days, 2 for 1 in Harris County. I had got a 30-day sentence. So I was only supposed to sit in there for 15 days. Well, my 14th night, they ended up calling me to court and put some charges on me that they had already placed on him. So they ended up putting 5 aggravated robbery charges on me and then placed 7 on him. I didn't have to fight them all because, I mean, it was trumped up.
Sure.
You know, it was trumped up. But long story short on how I was sentenced and the process, just tell you like this. I went to court. You know, I tried to fight it. You know, I even took it to trial. In trial, I got a mistrial because they could not positively say that I had anything to do with this. But the head DA, he didn't like the mistrial conviction. He didn't like that. So when it was time for them to repick a jury and all that other stuff, he actually brought me to the back. And I'm going to tell you guys how the system is. He took me to the back and sat me across the jury table, just the same way you and I are sitting. And he looked me right in my face and he told me, he said, I felt like my assistant DA didn't do her job properly. He said, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart your trial starting tomorrow and we're going to pick a new jury. He said, but this time I will be the acting DA on the case. He said, and if I get you convicted, I'm pushing for 99, the max.
Life. Yeah, life.
Mind you, 19, it scared the shit out of me. Excuse my language, you know? It scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So in so many words, you know, they forcibly coerced me to sign, you know, and they made me made me sign for 20 years. Of course, they had started out at like 60, then they went down to 50. You know how they go down, but right at that moment, he said, "Sign now. You signing for this 25," and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. And what another thing that doesn't make sense? How are you going to give me more time than the guy that was driving the vehicle that we were in and that has all of these other cases pending, including the cases that you guys have put on me? You gave him 15 years, but you're telling me you're trying to give me 25. It sounds to me that like something shaky. You know, it didn't sound right.
Yeah.
So I mean, once I put two and
damn.
two together, by the time I was able to get all of the information that I needed, that the what is it? The law of the time law.
Oh, statute of limitations.
The statutes of limitations had already superseded that time frame to file certain affidavits and things like that. So I kind of missed out on my opportunity. Obviously, it wasn't meant for me to be back home because 15, like I say, on the 14th night, I got all of these other cases. Well, while I was up in the county, I was in the county of July of 2001. Of course, we all remember the September 11th attack. And that happened while I was sitting in the county jail. But remember, I told you before all of this, I was on my way to the military.
Yeah.
So ultimately, in the whole scheme of things, I look at it like this. At first, I had anger about the whole situation. I resented a lot of things. I hated this guy and all this other stuff. But, God gave me redemption by placing me in a system that was so corrupt as it was. And I know that sounds like an oxymoron,
I agree.
But the truth is, the prison system is not built to rehabilitate anyone.
No.
They are built. It's designed to cause you to fail.
Yes.
It's designed for that.
100%.
You have to figure that out on your own, and you have to work toward rehabilitating yourself.
Yep.
That's why we were able to do the things that we were, because we were helping each other rehabilitate ourselves. It's like, remember the old FUBU, for us by us, Well, our rehabilitation that we actually see worked out for the better came because we had people like us in our lives while we were incarcerated.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that's the only reason, but that was a big factor why we turned out the way that we did,
Yeah, because you can have a supportive family out there, but the day they leave, they come see us, they spend 2 hours with us, they take off. We still go back to this other life.
Exactly.
And we got 7 more fucking days to do whatever it is we're going to do.
Exactly.
And so we have to choose. Are we going to make an effort to go home? Do we want to go home? Exactly. And if you want to go home, you're going to stay away from the other bullshit.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just how it is, man. Dude, so obviously I knew about the Navy part. I knew about I knew that it was an aggravated. I didn't know, and I'm with you. The system's fucked up. The system's corrupt. It's lopsided.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that. I will say this: the day I was convicted, there was a 19-year-old man in there. Had been on probation for 2 years at this point since he was 17. Originally was drug charges. Violated over 15 times. Additional drug charges. Failed UAs.
I already know what
all this other
going.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Judge gave him 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
And I got 10.
How about this? When I was sitting in the county,
Yeah.
one of the because of course I had to go to the juniors the junior tank,
Yes.
because I was under 21.
Yeah.
But while I was incarcerated in there was a guy that came in for gang violence. He ended up shooting up a party, ended up killing a little girl. He actually killed the guy that he was trying to get, but it was all because of gang rivalry.
Yeah.
Do you know, because of his lawyer and everything, this guy still got put on gang files, but they gave him a 5-year sentence for murder.
That's insane.
And we know
That's insane.
People may hear that and they may be like, hell no, man, this man, he's airing this up because he on mic.
Yeah.
But just like I know, we
Yeah.
witnessed it.
Yeah.
We were there. I've witnessed it. I've seen paperwork. I've seen people that I've seen a dude up in there that got 45 years for shooting the whole head off of a transgender for false claiming to be a woman.
Yeah.
And because he was under the influence at the time, when they made it back to his home, he came back out with an AK-47, shot this transgender, and until she fell.
Yeah.
He fell, whatever you want to call it. And once that happened, he ended up just unloading a clip on this guy's face, and just shot. They said that the face was so distorted, it was hard to positively identify what gender that individual was. You know, he got 45 years. You know, there are so many horrendous
insane
cases
shit
like that we can go through. You know, because I don't have any emotions toward that situation outside of I'm sorry that it had to go there. You know, people have to make sure they're aware of their environment. They have to make sure that they're aware of what they're doing, and the choices that they make can ultimately be life changing, life pivoting, you know. And they just have to make sure they remembering that type of thing, you know. Some people, people are just getting they're careless these days.
Oh, of course. You know? Yeah, it's like
they glorify that lifestyle.
Yeah, we can go down that road heavily, but I tell you what, how about this? We talked about this a little bit earlier, that while you were there, you learned a trade that put you onto the path you're on today, where you got your own house, you got your own vehicles, you got a business.
I actually have two now.
Really?
Yeah.
You want here? I'll bring this out here.
There you go.
This is here. You want to grab that there?
Yeah.
That's there.
So this was the way that I took back my prison reform. You know, as coming off of parole, you know, July 17th, you know, I was released.
I'll put this back
and started this company, Titan Arc Welding LLC. Well, Titan Arc LLC.
Yeah.
And what that company is, of course, as you've seen, it's a mobile welding repair and fabrication company.
Yeah.
But of course, keyword mobile. You know, I'm willing to come to you. I'm willing to get the job done. I'm willing to get the job done in a timely manner. I make sure that when I set an appointment, I adhere to that time. I do my best to be on time. You know, all of those things are qualities that, like I say, those are things that you don't really think about when you're working just a regular 9 to 5, you know, because it's like when you're working a 9 to 5, your day is already set, you know, you have to be there at this time, you know, you get off at this time, and you know, you have an off day on Saturday, you may have another off day on Tuesday, you know, it's already put together, but you know, as a business owner, you have to do all of that, consider all of that, but as well as do the job.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you have the right people on the job. You have to, you know, there's a lot of different things that comes into play as being a business owner, of course, and I'm sure business owners out there would agree, you know. But what I've done is I've took everything that I had to deal with inside of that place. And like you say, yeah, when I started college welding with Blinn, of course, you know, I graduated with Blinn College, but from incarceration.
Got yourself a college degree.
Exactly. But, you know, when I started it back in 2004, I fell in love with it. I didn't even think that I would be good at doing it, you know, but what ended up happening, I came home. A friend of mine's, shout out to Terry Hall, Terry T. Yeah, Terry T. He was working at not Power Therm, UTLX at the time.
Okay.
And he asked me, they were having a job fair coming up. He asked me, he said, "Man, do you still know how to weld?" I just kind of looked at him, you know, not arrogantly, but, you know, proud of my skill. Like, man, how dare you put some respect on my name, you know?
Yeah.
Not trying to steal Birdman's slogan, but, you know, I had to use it right there, you know. But when he told me about the job fair, I was like, most definitely. I went, got the job, and by the way, I had only been home at that point maybe like for a month. I had a job that I was working already, but it was, you know, one of those little under the table jobs where they pay you a few $100s, you know, under the table, but you worked for them for 2 weeks. Yeah, I did it. You know, because I was willing to do whatever I had to do to make sure I was able to provide for myself.
Absolutely.
Even though I was still, like you say, I came home, I paroled to my mother's house. So, yeah, I was living right there at home. But when I got this job at UTLX, that was the first job I had got when I first made it home. And that job took me from the previous job of making $8.50 an hour to $21 plus an hour. And, you know, like I say, mind you, this is after 13 and a half full years of incarceration, I was able to come home, land that job. And I worked that job for almost 2 years. So I set precedents in my life by taking that job. And like I say, and just a friend just looking out for a friend. And like going back to it, this was the guy that I was incarcerated with.
Right.
This wasn't a friend of mine that I knew before incarceration. But when he seen me, he asked me if I still had a skill that they're using at his company. And he helped me get that job by sending me the job fair application. I came, knocked it out, and I had a job. And ever since then, I've always been able to retain good welding jobs to the point where I actually had one of the biggest welding school in the country, Tulsa Welding School.
No, yeah.
Ended up giving me a call, and they were like, man, look, we were on LinkedIn, we looked at your resume, we like what we see. Are you interested in being a welding instructor? And I was like,
holy shit.
But mind you, I'm like, oh my God, it's like I was incarcerated, and here it is that these guys are giving me a call,
Yeah.
I went in, tested, got the job as a welding instructor. I'm still licensed to train welding in the state of Louisiana as well as the state of Texas. I have my license for that, but I got that while I was on parole. You see what I'm saying?
That's cool, man.
Worked at Tulsa Welding School, and I have a lot of students that has made me so proud over these years. You just by watching how they were able to come in just like I did, a basic beginner, not knowing nothing outside of, hey, I know with welding, it's supposed to be a bright light that comes from where just like anyone
just
else.
Don't look right at it, yeah.
Yeah, But seeing these kids, some of them older, some of them younger, some of them, they're just there just to brush up. But seeing them come in and complete that 7-month program and go out to be welders and then come back and just, hey, where is Mr. Phillips? Hey, where is such and such? And they came back just to embrace us because we've helped them get to a different point of their lives that they didn't know that they would ever have the opportunity to get to.
Yeah.
And I did that. I worked at Tulsa. I actually, I got there. I was a junior welding instructor when I first got there, which is the lowest pay grade of welding instructors. But I wasn't tripping because I'm a believer. You always want to build yourself up,
right,
for progression and success. You
appreciate and understand it.
Exactly. So in that course of time, 8 months, I had already got a promotion to what they considered regular welding instructor, which is a little bit more money a year. Then I got another promotion to welding supervisor, which is basically the lead on the floor. There was 3 of us, and there was a director over us. We answered to the director, and the instructors, they would come to us, for anything. But it was a family vibe.
Yeah.
We made sure at Tulsa we kept things family oriented. Some of us, we would argue just like family, brothers, sisters.
Still a construction business.
Exactly. You
got the personalities.
But at the end of the day, our mission and our goal was met. And it's to get these kids from point A to point B in a manner that they are able to take the skills acquired and go out there and become something.
And potentially keep them from having to go through something like you went through.
Exactly.
Or going back to it.
And I met so many students that came through, of course, some of them facing going to prison. Some of them were on parole. Some of them just was released from parole. Some of them just on probation. And they need something like this to show and prove the judge that they are trying to be something in their lives. These individuals would come in just down, depressed, hard to talk to, but they knew they wanted this skill.
Yeah.
And they would acquire that skill, retain that skill, and go out to make major pivots in their lives. That was the, I guess you could say, that was the start of my eyes being wide open to what I needed to do. I knew what I wanted to do, and I know what I was working toward, but it came down to the point where it was like, hey man, it's time for you to make that next step.
Yeah.
when I left Tulsa, I became a director of training for a company called PCTI, which is Professional Corrections. Lord, no.
Hey, when you spend an hour talking about that, yeah, it's
Professional Career Training Institute.
okay.
Man. And I was working directly with the CEO of that company. I became her director of training for this particular company in my facet, which was welding. And I started training students at Prairie View A&M, as well as we established a campus out in, it's out 59.
North side, south side.
No, it's out going toward Conroe.
Oh, maybe like Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Okay.
Cleveland.
All right.
So in Cleveland, Texas, I established a second campus. So myself, remember, I live in Pearland.
Yeah.
But I was making this drive every single day to make it to Prairie View and home, or to make it to Cleveland, depends on the semester. But I taught at both of these campuses for almost a year, and I graded out 100 students. I was only able to have 20 students each class. I taught 5 classes. I graded out 100 students. You know, it felt good. I ran the program. I created the program. I built the program. And when I say the program, I'm talking about the welding portion, you know, and she allowed me the opportunity to just mold it. And these kids, they graduated. They just actually had their major graduation ceremony, I would say like about 3 weeks ago. So, you know, to know that I started these students off and I was able to see the program all the way through. And if the CEO of that company was listening, she could confirm. And this is not glorifying myself or anything else, but it's to show what you put out is what you receive.
Yeah.
I missed not one day. The only days we had to miss was probably because of a terrible thunderstorm. And, you know, on that road, you know, you have to be cautious of that. So I would cancel class for the students, but we would still hold Zoom meetings right there from their living room.
Yeah.
You know, so when we were able to do that, we still kept the class consistent. So I could say, you know, I did that, and it showed me that I have what it takes to move and maneuver in my own lane. So after completing that at Prairie View, I started, in the process of that, me and a partner of mine were already in the process of building our first company, which is Rainey Technical Solutions.
Okay.
And it's a company that deals with commercial work. You know, we deal with the city of Houston. We deal with the Port of Houston. You know, we deal with different facets in the industry, but that's more commercial. With Titan Arc LLC, I focus more on residential, the direct independent needs of the customer.
Like wrought iron fences,
Exactly.
custom wrought iron fences, repairs, things like that, everything.
Fences, gates, repairs. We build fireboxes. We build fire pits.
I saw a cage. Y'all do a lot of cages for AC units.
AC, yeah. We also do AC cages because that was a real terrible moment in the adjoining neighborhoods in my area, like a few years back, where people were finding the copper and stuff off their ACs just gone.
Yeah, stripped out.
And it's like whoever was stealing it would go house to house, man. It was real bad at that time. So, you know, to have an AC cage around your unit was just extra security. And then it would come with a key. You know, we build it to your liking, but we also build it to provide what it's supposed to, and that's security. You know,
I tell you, hey, look, I understand that. I'll tell you what, the first house I ever purchased, was 2007. When I went to go move in, the day we were doing our final walkthrough and everything, we were closing on the house, and we walk outside, and all the copper had been stripped out. This is a brand new house up in Magnolia.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there was a. I know we did a bunch of that stuff where we'd have to go in and fix a bunch of commercial properties. People going in, stealing the copper off the AC units, stealing the brass off of the plumbing, all the shutoffs and all that stuff.
Exactly.
That shit's just crazy, man.
It is.
Hey, I tell you, meth Meth and crack will cause a motherfucker to do a lot of crazy shit,
James saying,
yeah. Crack a hell of a drug.
A hell of a drug. So, hey,
but
he kept it straightforward. He's letting you know, hey, it's a problem.
But
it's a hell of a drug, man.
I think about that like all straight off the Dave Chappelle show, man. Crack's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, man. But you know.
So now you do Titan, but dude, I tell you what, man, I could see you being a teacher.
Yeah.
I could see you being a teacher. And I say this because I actually, growing up, that was something I wanted to be. I wanted to be a history professor. Oh. I mean, I love the business I'm in. I grew up doing this.
Yeah.
I didn't see myself being an athlete the rest of my life. I actually wanted to be a history professor. So kind of drew me, I guess maybe instinctively kind of drew me to people that were more intellectually, adventurous or inquisitive.
Yeah.
I could see you being an instructor. I could see that.
Well,
based on what you did while you were there, you led classes.
Yeah.
You led classes there.
I led classes, and also due to the corona virus pandemic, when it first started, I was still at Tulsa, and myself and a few of the higher ups, including there was another guy, buddy of mine's, Nate, Natalio Cortez. Shout out to Natalio. We would be responsible. It was me, Natalio, and Luis De Los Santos. Yeah, De Los Santos.
That's a hell of a name.
My boys, but we had to work together in putting together some form of format for preparation about this COVID. We would have to stagger schedules, and we would be working directly with the director of training and the CEO, the COO of Tulsa franchise. And we had to put together like certain grids, certain graphs, just getting everything prepared for the pandemic, in the school.
Yeah.
And, with all of that, it taught me a whole lot, man, about, just how to put curriculum and things like that together.
Structure and organization.
Yeah, because we had to have curriculum still set in place because this was school. So it wasn't like, you could just take off during the pandemic for the rest of the pandemic and say, well, whenever it's over, we can come back to school and finish. No, This is a progressive skill. If you start here, wherever you stop, you can easily forget everything that you learned prior to.
Yeah.
If you don't get it down,
all the time. Yeah.
So we started making schedules where we would do what they call Miller Open Book, where they were able to follow the curriculum, do all of their work and stuff, and that way they can still get the academic portion of why they were there, And outside of that, when it came down to the welding training directly, we would have them come in on staggered schedules. So say you were on A card and I was on B card, you come in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week, and I come in Tuesday and Thursday. And then we would flip the next week. And their booths were only so far apart, so we would stagger booths. We would put people the first booth, the third booth, the fifth booth, throughout the whole unit.
Yeah.
And it taught me a whole lot. So after taking what I learned from all of that, which I don't have anything negative to say about Tulsa Welding School, because it was actually one of my most enjoyable jobs that I've ever had, because I was able to work directly with these people and teach them just a little bit of something that I learned so long ago, and help them build and grow on top of that. So I jumped out there. Me and my wife, we ended up starting Titan Arc LLC, and right now I'm up and operating, but also I would like to talk about this.
Yeah, man.
So
I tell you what, this right here, I've been telling all my friends about this. About this. I'm like, man, we're gonna have to do like a viewing party for this.
Most definitely. So this is a new movie that's coming out. Of course, locally directed, locally edited, locally screenplayed, and everything. All of the individuals in this photo are local. But we all came together and we came up with a movie called Karo the Movie. And if anyone doesn't know what Karo is, For all of you that's wondering what this word Karo means, you may have seen the Karo syrup inside of the grocery stores. Of course, you know, if you know anything about the hood,
Right.
Karo is a form of, I'd say, drugs
Sure.
that you would consume to get a certain level of
what anybody might watching this, they might know it as syrup.
Basically,
Syrup. You know,
look, I'm trying to keep it politically correct.
It's all right.
You know,
purple purple drink.
stuff,
You know,
purple stuff, man.
Lil Wayne pouring it. Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
With Sprite, all that. Yeah.
So we came up with this movie about this Karo.
I like to play on the words. I knew it hit me right away. I was like, man, that's a great play on words right there.
But the thing about the movie is, it's not authentic purple stuff.
Yeah.
It's Karo, and Karo is the fake purple stuff.
Yeah.
But this purple stuff in this movie causes the characters in this movie to do crazy things. I'll just say it like that. But the movie is gonna be super funny, man.
Yeah.
Super funny. For all of the castmates, you know, from Dre, you know, you even got individuals like South Park Shawty. And she's even a meme around the country. You know?
All right.
We have the two main stars, which is Bubba Dub and Brady Bob. They're both comedians. You can check them out on Instagram and all over social media and things like that. Brady Bob and Bubba Dub. When I say these guys are hilarious, they are hilarious. And we have what they call Grandma. Grandma in the movie is played by a diva, Kiata C, you know, so shout out to Kiata C and Kiata C Productions. You know, we have another major comedian coming up out of Houston, Jeff Shelley. You know, and Jeff Shelley is a big name in the comedy media as well. And for everyone, we have individuals, Smoke, Al Crocker, the Pink Celebrity, the Pink Stunner. You look her up, man, I've heard
that name, and I've heard Al Crocker before.
Yeah.
I've heard those names.
We actually there's a video when you look up on YouTube, he has music videos out the wazoo. You know, look up Al Crocker, and you'll see all kinds of different music that he has out.
Yeah.
Also Shaky Keith, Smoke, Farrell Black.
Farrell Black.
Exactly. Dexter Long, you know, Kush Talk.
Yeah.
Josie Beats. Man, when I say this cast, we all came together and made a FUBU. A movie for us by us, man. You know, it's not it and you know the thing is, with this movie, we didn't go out and look for people to just throw a bunch of money our way and help us make this movie. We got it the best way we could. But after all of the production and looking back at the movie and seeing, we just actually had our trailer release party this past Saturday. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So we will be on Street Flavor on May 20 on New Year's Eve.
Man, we
used to watch that. Man, that was our show.
Yeah,
you know
we watch it every week.
When you wanted to see some good videos, man, look, we had reserved seats in the day room to watch Street Flavor.
It was Saturday nights.
Exactly.
Yeah, late Saturday nights.
So obviously, you know, I'm giving a little shout out to everyone from that's still incarcerated at the unit we came from, because they are still there.
Yeah.
But I wanted to shout out to everyone at OL Luther. You know, I wanted to make sure I just got the word out, you know, and that they'll see this is production in the making. Contagious Films, as you see down at the bottom, and we will do our best to send this out so we can blow it up and everyone can see everything. But Absolutely. You have Monstrous, which is my boy Russ. Russ Compton. Amazing graphics, man.
Yeah.
He put this flyer and stuff together, but Monstrous Media, Contagious Films, Contagious KMG Records. Like, man, we're out to win, man. We're out to win. And, you know, we're coming out humbly saying that we're trying to be the next biggest thing like Friday. Big ups to everyone from the West Coast. You know, Ice Cube,
you dress straight from the West Coast today,
exactly.
man.
You know, I was feeling Cali swag today. You know, R.I.P. to your man's Nipsey Hussle. You know, victory lap. You know, when this youngster, when I actually started paying attention to his music, when he was first just starting to get over the airwaves down here in Texas, you know, he was put on my mind by a friend of mine, Shaker Keith. So I started listening to him, and before you know it, I was listening to him more and more. And what I did notice is this young man was very prolific. He was coming up to portray that image that Pac left and Biggie left. You know, they were trying to really get to the masses. You know, and that's what Nip was all about.
Intelligent, engaging music.
Yes. And you know, like I said, I listened to his music. Of course, the message sometimes can get a little bit more rougher than what some people are used to, but it all comes with it.
Yeah.
It's all because he spoke volumes to the masses that were able to comprehend where he was coming from, you know?
Yeah.
But also to where he was trying to go and letting it be known when we get there, man, look, let's make a victory lap. You know?
See, I've listened to some of his music. I had a really hard time listening to rap, hip hop music after like 2005, 2006, because you lost obviously people like Pac, you lost people like Biggie. Dre wasn't putting out nearly as much music. Snoop was kind of transitioning into some of this other stuff. But then you had God, what's his name? Humble, song Humble.
Drake?
Not Drake.
Not Drake. What's the boy's name?
He did like the NCAA championship.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Then
all of a sudden, this last few years, you start having him coming out, and now it's not. We had this. It was like 15 years of guys that were rapping about music. And look, hey man, I'm as white as they come, man. But I grew up listening to this shit, and I'm like, man, I enjoy that music because it's real, it's life.
Yeah,
those guys, the 90s, early 2000 hip hop, rap music. Those guys lived that life. They were involved in that, and they made it out of there, and they were talking about the life that they were living. All of a sudden, you had people that were intentionally trying to put themselves into a certain life just so they could rap about it. It was no longer just this was the circumstances of your life, and you lived it, and now you made it out. There was people intentionally putting themselves in almost, we'll say, harm's way, just so they could, because their intention was to become artists. So they wanted street cred. And then all of a sudden you had people like Nipsey Hussle, Kendrick Lamar that were coming out that literally lived the life unintentionally. It was just who they were, how they grew up.
And they lived it like the OGs lived.
Yeah.
They lived it like some of those older cats that came up in the early 90s and the late 80s. They lived life like those guys.
Yeah.
You know, outside of these other guys that's taking this whole game and music and things like that, and they're shifting.
Yeah,
they're shifting it. You know, it's too commercialized at this point. When I say commercialized, we grew up on a lot of that underground stuff.
Yeah,
you know, that underground stuff. It targeted certain areas that you couldn't hear everyone listening to on the regular airwaves. You know.
Yep.
But the way things are coming out now, you know, they've evolved. This is the time. I tell people all the time, I call this the era of acceptance, because the youngsters that's coming out these days, and that's coming.
I burp all the time
days,
on this show, man, because I do it all the time.
You know, that's coming up these days. You have two sides. You have the ones that are accepting anything you throw at them, and then you have that small percentage that's still trying to stick to the script, and they're being silenced. And when I say silenced, because social media portrays a certain image. Sure. When you look at TV, when you're watching movies, when you see all of these different commercials, everything is oriented to these other youth, the ones that accept anything.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and they take that and they all gravitate to that area. And so that way the volume of the ones that's actually going to make the big difference, they're null and void.
They're pushed down.
Yeah, it's like they turned the knob all the way down.
Yeah.
We can't listen to them because they're positive. They're teaching how to give back to the community. They're teaching, when we talking about gangster music and all this other stuff, we talking about rap and hip hop and all these things. So we gotta also stick to the script and also talk about that gang life. Gang life is real.
Sure.
Gang life has been around since the beginning of time.
Yep,
whether
absolutely.
we like to agree with it or not.
Yeah.
You know, but one thing about being in that type of lifestyle, they have what you consider literature, right?
Yeah.
They have principles. They have certain elements that they're supposed to stand on no matter what in order to be considered what it is that they're representing,
Absolutely.
right? But what happens when all of the principles are being stepped on? What happens when people are going against the principles and things like that? Well, the way they used to do it back in the day, those individuals were violated. The way things are now, you can get your G card off the internet. You can literally go onto the internet, type up whatever gang, organization, or family you want to be a part of,
Yeah.
and read up on their history and start wearing a certain color. And now you're flaunting yourself all on social media as being this or being that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what these youth are failing to realize, you've accepted a certain lifestyle that comes with stipulations. You know, I'm looking at and when I'm talking about all this, I'm not just talking about gangs as far as representing a certain creed or color or flag or nothing.
Right.
I'm talking about even in the music world. We look at all these young men that have been murdered that's in the music game. Young Dolph, you know. We look at and all the slew that came before him, Mo 3. All of these, King Von, are young men that were involved in a lifestyle that they were blending with a new lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
If we evolved and blended everything that we were going through, the hardships and things that we were going through in prison, and blend that with the lifestyle we have now, what type of lifestyle would we have? I don't think we'd be able to do what we're doing right now.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that basically means that when you get through with one, you got to close that book and start a new one.
Gotta let it go.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what they couldn't do.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to let the game go. You are on a whole nother level in your life that will basically set you up and your kids for the rest of their lives.
Generations to come.
But they still want to keep an attachment to that old life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And all of it's gonna do is, it's like two locomotives going on the same track directly toward each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's destined to crash.
Well, you look at someone like Snoop. He goes out and he makes it very clear. He wears blue.
Mm-hmm.
He made it very clear. He represents. He's a Crip. He's from East Coast.
Yeah.
He does that, but he doesn't incorporate that into his daily life.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about it. This is the life I lived, but he's not sitting here running around with these people on a daily basis, still going out doing those crazy things. He's realizing, look, I got responsibilities. I've made a career. I've made a life.
He has a platform.
Yeah, and he can talk about it.
Exactly.
He's able to talk about what he went through and those kinds of things, and still talk about that kind of life. But he doesn't have to. He doesn't feel the need and the drive to still live it and be this mogul, this pop culture icon. You know, I mean, he's evolved out of that life. Mm-hmm. You're right. There's a lot of those guys that still want to have one foot in here and one foot in here. And
well, we call that parole, right?
Right.
1 foot in here and 1 foot out there, right? We
Right.
call that parole. And the thing about being on parole was what? If you violate your parole,
Yeah.
what happens? That 1 foot in is you're going to
2
get the
feet
other
in.
one added to it,
That's
right?
right. 2 feet in.
So, I mean, to me, it exposes itself as being more along the lines of following. You're not following universal laws.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We have to remember, with universal laws, that means that I don't care how much you believe in it, but there are such things
Absolutely.
as universal laws. Laws that there is nothing you can do. You cannot go against these laws, right?
Which makes me think of something else. But
Go ahead. But
Yeah.
so I'm looking at that situation, that synopsis. It's the same thing across the board. Whether you want to be in a family, you want to be in a gang, you went to prison, you're out here trying to balance having a good life where you're working a 9 to 5 and taking care of family, but your nightlife all comes out and you want to be out in the streets and you rolling through and you throwing up and you doing all the crap.
I think we know a couple people that are doing that right now. No names, but I think we know a couple of them that
exactly.
Yeah.
So going back to that universal law, there has to be something wrong with having 1 foot in and 1 foot out, but you still voluntarily choose to give more attention to the 1 foot in.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
When everything that's associated with the 1 foot in has come with hardship, it has come with a lesson that hopefully you've already learned from. Because there's an old saying. I remember watching a movie when I was a kid, and it was Jack Nicholson, an old movie. He said a mistake is only a mistake if you know. That's my saying. That's my saying. And I'm letting everybody know this is my saying because I had to add a little bit more tweaking to it. But a mistake is only a mistake if you continue making it. Mm-hmm. A mistake becomes a lesson when you learn from it and move on, right? Now, Jack Nicholson said, it's easy to do right, but hard to know what right is. Mm-hmm. Once you know what right is, it's hard not to do it. I beg to differ. Because a lot of us, we know right from wrong. But is it so easy to do wrong, or is it easier to do right? Which is it? You see what I'm saying? Because we know right from wrong.
Sometimes it's a lot easier to do wrong.
Sometimes it's a whole lot easier to do wrong than it is to do right. So that's why I said I disagree with that statement. But as I said, a mistake is only a mistake if you continue making it.
Right.
A mistake becomes a lesson when you learn from it. But the ending of that is then you move on. You see what I'm saying?
Quote by SIRPATRICK PHILLIPS.
Quote by SIRPATRICK PHILLIPS. Because I look at this, man. Honestly, I look at it like this. I made the mistake, and I tell my wife, I tell friends of mine this all the time. We focus so much on the mistake.
Right.
Why focus so much on the problem when y'all could come together and focus more on finding a solution together?
Right.
See what I'm saying? The problem is there regardless if you want to adhere to it or not. The problem exists.
Yep.
So instead of us badgering each other or beating each other up verbally and things like this about the problem, well, why don't we go ahead and shut up and have a conversation where, that takes one to talk and one to listen, right? Let's do that. And then try to come up with a solution for the problem that we have, because that's a cause and effect. Going back to the universal law, everything in this world for the God-fearing understands that everything was created in duality, right? Everything there's an up and down, left and right, in and out,
light and dark,
right and wrong, light and dark. There's duality to who we are, period. There's always more than one side to the story. So with understanding that duality, then you understand you could either be a part of the cause or you could be a part of the effect. You could be a part of the problem or you could be a part of the solution, but you can't do both.
Right.
Because if you're a part of my problem, my solution is probably I need to get rid of you. And when I say get rid of you, look here, I'll let you, player. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel more inclined to have my sanity in this situation than to help you find yours. But if we can both come together and we can try to figure out a solution for the problems that we have, we'll be better off, because that's what we've done. Yeah. We had our problems. Our problems was whooping our. I ain't gonna say it, but that's what the problems were in our life.
Where you went with that is exactly what I had been thinking about here.
Let's hear it.
Well, I'm gonna ask you this question first. Do you still practice?
I put it like this. As you see, I have a light on my finger, right?
Yes, sir.
My understanding about, you're talking about religion.
I'm talking God.
Yeah. My thing is, I don't practice the scale anymore. And when I say the scale, I mean where, you tried this out and now you're scaling to a different one, and then you're scale, because we were in prison. It causes you to scale.
Absolutely, because it's almost like picking sides.
Exactly, it causes you to scale.
Yeah,
but also going back to what I was saying, the original foundation, which is your faith. That is real serious in my life. You know, I don't have a set religion. No, I don't claim a religious title because I don't look at religion the way the ones with the blinders on are looking at it. Because, you know, religion is the definition of religion is it's a mere way to have sex, to have division. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't say sex,
SECT,
but SECT.
Yeah.
You know, sect.
Yeah.
That's what religion causes. It causes sections. It causes dissension, and it causes you to tell me that your way is better than mine's, or for me to tell you that my way is right and your way is wrong. But I don't look at religion through that lens. You see what I'm saying? I have respect for my faith.
Yeah.
And to me, when you look at the Bible, the Quran, the Old Testaments, the Psalms of David, when you look at all of these, the Proverbs, you know, when you look at all of these scriptures, you will see a detailed outline that lets you know about life. You feel me? That's it. It lets you know about life, but it doesn't specify a sect or a religious title or anything like that.
Right.
Those people were identified by their nationality and also by the area that they lived. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when you look at Jews, they brung forth Judaism. You see what I'm saying? You look at all of the individuals in the Middle East. I don't care if you're talking about Afghanistan, Pakistan, all of those different areas.
Any a stand.
At the end of the day, because this is a misconception that's spread out through the mass, especially in the United States. When people hear the word Muslim, they hear, oh, these people must be from Middle East, or if they're American, oh, they're terrorists, or they are part of that craziness, or that, you know, they have so many different stereotypes that comes from when you hear the word Muslim or you hear Islam. But for anyone that has done their qualified studying, as the Bible says in the Old Testament, it says, study to show thyself approved, right?
Yep.
So for anyone that believes that God is who he said he is, God tells you to study to show thyself approved. That basically means that you can't think that just because you've read the book that you understand the full book now.
Right.
That means that you have to continue practicing. You have to put it to work. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes down to the word Islam, Islam is a word that has consonants and it has vowels, right? ISLAM. Take the S, take the L, take the M. Those are the consonants. And this is how I learned Arabic, you know, but also this is how I was able to teach others to pay attention to what it is that you're looking at, you know, and you'll be able to comprehend this Arabic a little bit better, you know, as far as when I was teaching Arabic. But you take those consonants, SLM, right? So what are the vowels? I, A, right? So when you remove those vowels, you have that consonant. That consonant SLM means peace. Psalm. The full word adding the A in the middle of S and the L is psalm, which means peace. It means submission. See what I'm saying? That's what those words mean. It doesn't say it means religion.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it means sect. It doesn't say that. With the word Muslim, Muslim is an action word. You see what I'm saying? Muslim describes the noun, which is a person, place, or thing, right? A Muslim only means Salam. Remember, I already said song. You hear that word again. So obviously that means that peace is somewhere in that title, right? But a Muslim is one who submits to God. You see what I'm saying? Complete submission to the will of God. That's what Muslim means. So regardless on what religion you follow, could you say you're a Muslim? Some people will say, I'll never say I'm Muslim. But my thing is, well, if you've ever traveled over to the Middle East, not saying that I have, if you ever want to address even the Christians over in the Middle East, guess what? You have to address them by Assalamu alaikum. And that means peace. And they will address you back. Wa alaikum assalam. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's peace be unto you. That's all they're saying. They're just, so, what we have to do is we have to stop focusing so much on the problem. People see, we talk about 9/11 and things like that. 9/11 is near and dear to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
You feel me? That's
Absolutely.
not something to take lightly.
Right.
But it's also not something that I feel comfortable throwing a bunch of ad libs at certain people, because
a billion people are not responsible for the actions of a few hundred.
you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You hold a person accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
You don't hold a people accountable for a person's actions.
Of course not.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I say, if we're able to focus more on the solutions to a lot of the problems that exist in this world that we live in now, I feel like we'd start working toward repairing what we consider life.
Well, going full circle back to this is some of the most memorable things I have is you, Roderick, and myself all sitting down at a table in the day room or sitting out on the basketball court. And what did we have? We had three people that were looking to have a conversation, but you had someone who was, and it was almost like it was designed to do this way. You had someone who was kind of talking from the Christian perspective, someone from the Muslim perspective, and someone from the Jewish perspective. Mm-hmm. And we were all able to sit there and have a conversation. There was a singular commonality amongst this. Mm-hmm. It was the belief in God. Mm-hmm. Not the division of, oh, well, you're Muslim, you're Christian, I'm Jewish, and I'm right. No, there's a singular belief in God, that we understood that there is a universal truth, that there's one God. Mm-hmm. Okay, how we go about achieving that may differ from here, and it can be positive for you and positive for me and positive for him, all at the same time, without the negativity, and because you focus on this one singular thing, rather than all the other nonsense that gets there. That it's, hey, you know what? We're not going back 10,000 years. Yeah, we've all been warring and fighting. That's human nature. That happens. That's never going to end. Yeah. But we all came from a singular place, and it all evolved from this one thing. And I remember those conversations, having those. I remember having the conversation where you described Muslim and Islam and how you broke it down that way. And then Roderick talking about, I mean, God dang, the fact that while we were there, you guys took it even further. You educated yourself and learned a language like Arabic. And then Roderick, while he was there, learned, I mean, completely fluent in Spanish. Exactly. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, those are some of the more memorable moments for me, because I literally felt like I was surrounding myself with like men of men. Yeah, we're all ultra ego, ultra testosterone filled men. Yeah, but men of men that care about the society greater as a whole than more than themselves as the individual.
Most definitely.
Where you guys literally, it felt just so good to have conversations with people that you cared about the other people there. Mm-hmm. Whether you went out and ate lunch with every single one of them, or specifically took the time to talk to any of them, you did care about them, everybody as a whole, more than yourself.
When you look at, what we went through, you talking about us three, the way we used to sit around and we would have conversations about our faith preference, and just what was helping us get through hard times and hardships and what we were dealing with. One thing that I can recall that really made that situation so special is the fact that I myself grew up Christian, I grew up Christian. And when I went to prison, my understanding, it was broader. It's like I wanted more. I comprehended everything I had up until that point. Not saying I was perfect at it, but I comprehended what faith is, what religion is, what those different, what just having that entity in your heart is. We had respect for one another. You see what I'm saying? We had respect for one another because we believed in the principles that came with our faith, not the religion.
Right.
What came with our faith, you know. And like I say, going back to the Old Testament, you know, you had the Torah, and you know, you really invested a lot of times in the Torah. You know, Roderick invested a lot of time in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I invested a lot of time in the Quran. But what we also had is you taught me some things about Judaism. Roderick came from the Christian perspective, and I came from the Islamic perspective, but we taught each other how we all are running the same race.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me? Like, that's what they fail to realize,
Yep.
man. When it comes down to the three that we're speaking of, we all come from the same lineage.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So with understanding the lineage of faith, not religion,
Yeah.
we could come from Jesus, or in my situation of study, we could come from Islam's perspective that comes a little bit deeper down, where it comes from Prophet Muhammad.
Yep.
Peace and blessings be upon his name. You know, then you got Jesus, peace and blessings be upon his name. And then you go all the way back to Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, we used to study a little bit further than Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
We went down through there and talked about the other societies and everything else that was present and all, but we're not. That's another.
Yeah.
That's another topic.
That's
day.
a wormhole we could travel down for a long time.
But when I read all of that literature, and I read because I still study all of my books. That's why I say I don't have a religious preference. I say I am a good Jew. But Sir Patrick, you're black. You just told us about Islam, so we don't think you're a Jew. I tell you, I'm a good Christian. and I got this. I got what I'm saying right now from not Warg Muhammad, but from the Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? He's all the way up there.
Louis Farrakhan.
Louis Farrakhan. I apologize for that. I don't know. I had a brain for it. But, you know, Louis Farrakhan made this so plain. And when he said it, I was able to understand it. Like I told you, I was able to understand, comprehend.
Yeah.
But I could be a good Christian, you know, and you still confused because, Sir Patrick, you just said all this good stuff about Islam, but you still talking about you can be a good Christian. But I can be a good Muslim.
Yeah.
So I'm confusing you because you don't understand. You understand, but for the audience listening, what does it mean to be a good Jew? And I'm gonna let you answer that. What's the principles of being a good Jew?
In the simplest terms, just being a good human being.
Can I be that?
Absolutely.
So that means I could be a good Jew, right?
Absolutely.
What does it mean to be a good Christian?
Same thing. Be a good human being.
It means to do your best to pattern your lifestyle behind the example that Jesus Christ left, right?
Absolutely.
So that means that I could be a good Christian, right?
Absolutely.
What does being a good Muslim means? It means submitting your will to the will of God.
Yeah.
So can I be a good Muslim? Of course.
Yeah.
So if I could be all of these three or not or none of them at all, why can't I just have the faith and say that I am the same as David, I am the same as Joseph, I am the same as Noah, I am the same as Adam.
Yeah.
They didn't profess a religion, they professed a faith.
Right. Singular belief.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The Bible says that God doesn't get rid of his old decrees or anything. He just builds everything line upon line, precept upon precept.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people fail to realize. I understand what came with the New Testament, and you know what I'm saying? And I understand what came with Jesus. But we also have to consider what came before Jesus.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jesus was here at the beginning, you know, but you also have to consider all of the prophecy of the prophethood, the lineage of the prophethood. They all brought a message of their time. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm just gonna say this: you being a good Jew, you're just a little bit further back in date than me,
Right.
you know. And I'm saying that, you know, in general, like
You're
because
exactly right.
Judaism was here first.
Right.
And then after Judaism, that's when you got Christianity. Then after Christianity, that's when you had Islam. But all of them derived from the same teachings, right or wrong.
Absolutely.
That's
100%.
so
At the root base of them, they're all from the same
that's
exact place.
it. And none of us now one of those different faiths profess to believe in more than one God.
Yeah. Well, I don't eat pork to this day. I still don't eat pork.
Okay.
Do you eat pork at all?
You said yourself. Now you talked about yourself. Now
Okay.
I told you when I am is on some different stuff.
All right.
So I ain't gonna say what all I eat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't go crazy on certain.
Crawfish. I eat crawfish. I eat the hell out of some crawfish.
Yeah,
I
like
don't.
I say my people Creole. So
Yeah.
crawfish.
You're gonna eat the shellfish, stuff like that.
That's
yeah.
it.
But people ask me, and I go down this conversation, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hey, we have. They say, why don't you eat pork?
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the world we live in today, it's this weird thing to have me out here in this place and be Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not in Southwest Houston where I guess the rest of the Jews are supposed to be. So everybody's like, well, why don't you eat pork? And I tell them it's a choice.
Yeah.
And okay, well, where's it come from? And like you hit it on the head, it's this evolution of understanding that brings us to where we are today. I had a conversation with my rabbi, and he says, look, you're not going to go, you know, God's not going to punish you because you ate pork. He's not going to say you're a bad Jew because you ate pork. And I'm not going to be rewarded higher because I chose not to eat pork. It's simply a decision that I make. But where it comes from, understanding where that decision comes from is what matters, is what is bred in something much bigger. So you look at it and say, okay, what did people of that time understand? What did they understand? There was pigs. Mm-hmm. They lived in dirt and filth. Mm-hmm. That they ate dirt and filth and dead things. And then what happens? You eat that. That goes into you.
And you are what you eat.
Right.
That's what they say.
So that is what they understood at the time. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to today, and you say, okay, what is pork? Well, we know from being in TDC that sometimes the pigs are treated better than the humans.
Yeah.
We had no AC, but we know the pigs had AC.
That's true.
Well, but today, pigs don't eat dead things. Yes, can they? And will they go through human bone like butter?
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But today, pork can be a very clean meat. Choosing to eat it is not in, I would say, in the spirit of the faith, it's not a violation of it. Mm-hmm. Choosing not to eat it doesn't make you better, but choosing not to eat it is a daily reminder for me.
And also choosing not to eat it is a set discipline that you adhere to.
Right.
That's what if you choose to have that level of discipline.
Yeah.
Then it is what it is.
That's what it is for me. It's that reminder. I choose to remain this discipline, and I choose to use it as a daily reminder. Mm-hmm. And being Jewish and not eating pork in prison was very, very fucking hard because I had to eat meat free a whole lot of times.
Yeah,
that was rough.
Meat free trays were hard.
Yeah, you're talking about a double scoop of beans, some bread, and some cheese, man. Like when I listen to music and they're talking about cheese sandwiches and stuff, I fucking get it, man. Yeah. I get it. I grew up on I didn't grow up on it. Well, my grandma, my parents, actually from my dad's side, very similar story to your life. Mm-hmm. My grandmother and biological grandfather, by the time they were like 24, 26 years old, they had 4 kids. Mm-hmm. Well, my grandma got pregnant again, and my biological grandfather, had like a nervous breakdown. Well, my grandma and she ended up being pregnant with twins.
Yeah.
Boy and girl twins. They could not raise. There was no way. They were broke. They had no money. There was no way. My grandfather had this fucking nervous breakdown because he's already struggling to pay for these 4 kids that they got. Mm-hmm. 2 boys, 2 girls. He loses his mind. He literally complete nervous breakdown, goes into a hospital and shit. Never really to recover from that. My grandma gives birth to these twins and her sister who could not conceive. Mm-hmm. ends up giving
Yeah.
the twins to my well, I guess it would be my great aunt to her sister, and their entire life growing up, my parents or my dad and his siblings, and then the brother and sister, their entire life were only raised to know each other as cousins. It was not until their late 20s and 30s that they were actually told that they were all actually, because they all look alike.
Yeah.
I will say this with my dad and my uncle and his and their dad, and then what was their cousin, but it's actually my uncle.
Yeah.
They look very fucking similar. Like
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
and so it became a thing. Like, so anyway, man, I tell you what, Sir Patrick, man, let's end it here. I'm gonna have I gotta go pee. I'm sure you probably gotta go pee at this point, man. I think we've been on here now. It looks like, man, we've been on for 2 hours now, man.
See, but you know,
Flies by
it's a
like that.
blessing. Yeah, it flies by when you have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't seen each other in a while.
Yeah.
You know, well, we haven't seen each other since
Yeah,
All White.
6 years, at least
Exactly.
6 years. At least 6
Yeah.
years. You got out in 14.
I got out in 14.
Okay, I got out August of 16. So I was a year and a half behind you. So,
and I haven't seen you in person
yeah,
since we've been home.
since then, yeah.
So this was an amazing experience. So I kudos, man. I want to give you your accolades now. You know, they say let's start giving people their flowers now.
Yeah.
While you can.
Absolutely.
You know? And so I
Celebrate
really
them while they're
appreciate
alive,
it.
man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate this opportunity. You know, I appreciate this exposure, you know,
Yeah.
for the new movie. Like I told you guys, it's Karo the movie, and we will be on my 20 New Year's Eve. So if you want to check us out, my 20 New Year's Eve. Yeah, man.
I'll put the links to all this inside the description.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, you know,
Titan
Titan
Arc,
Arc, man.
yeah.
Support you know, entrepreneurship, man. Mobile welding, like I said, my website is www.titanarcllc.com. You know, you can go on there, you can send me just send me a request. You know, also you can find us on Facebook under the same logo, Titan Arc LLC, as well as I'm getting us on Google Maps and everything.
Cool.
So we're setting that up. We're in the process of that right now. But, you know, times, you know, at times, you know, you get so busy where you're unable to really just focus on the tedious things that you have to do. But
Yeah.
follow me, Instagram. It's all Sirpat_the_Sire82. All right, that's again Sirpat, SIRPAT_THE_SIRE82. And you know, like I say, I'll have the trailer on that, you know, so you guys could probably go and get just an idea of the movie, you know. But I also just, hey man, send me a request, man. I'm not a social media junkie where I'm looking for a bunch of likes and I need a billion followers. But at the same time, this is the way of the world that we live in.
Let's
now.
blow it up, man.
And my thing is, hey, the more you guys are sharing, the more we will be able to bring new content, the more we will be able to continue striving to give you guys what you're looking for, you know, regardless of what we have going on. You know, our aim is to just please the people, man.
Yeah.
That's what we are, man. We're people pleasers, you know. And I don't have any problem with that.
I can't wait to see it, man. I've been, honestly, since you and I talked a couple weeks ago about getting you on today, I've literally told all of my friends, everybody I come across, I'm like, man, I'm so excited to do this interview. Dude, I got lots of people out there. I'm saying, man, look, you guys have got to see this stuff, man.
Yeah.
And I'm telling about the movie, man, and I wanted to make sure it got you on here, and so we could blow it up, because that's you know what do we talk about? Brothers helping brothers.
That's it.
People helping people.
What we used to always say, a slogan we had up in there, as iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
Man sharpens man.
That's right,
you
man.
know? And we
Absolutely.
stick by that, man.
And I tell you what, man, we'll cut it off here, cut it off at that, man. I just want to say thank you so much,
Yes,
man.
sir.
And
Thank you.
And from the bottom of my heart, man, congratulations on everything you fucking done, dude. I love it. I'm so proud. I'm so happy. I love seeing people that where we were and coming out and just thriving and flourishing, man. Yeah. So bottom of my heart, man, congratulations.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Hey, Jason Husk, man, the kid is here, man. He's done it again. Look, blow up the likes, blow up the subscriptions, blow us up, man, because this story that we have today is a story that a lot of people need to really hear.
Yeah.
A lot of people need to hear, and they don't hear this rawness. You know what I'm saying? We didn't rehearse this. I had no idea what we were going to be talking about today. But ultimately, at the end, I feel like we've really set some good precedences today.
Yeah.
I just asked that, hey, man, everybody, man, share, like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things, man. And just send us that love, man, because that's all we need. Can a brother get a little love? You know?
Sir Patrick. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you as well, Mr. Jason.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, bud.